My name is Donna Fiesel.
And I'm Cathy Tillery, and we are here at Baker Farms in Mentone, Alabama with Cheryl Baker. And what a gifted lady you are. She's gone from being a chemical engineer, a graduate of Auburn University, to actually...
War Eagle, by the way.
Yeah, a Roll Tide. And taking on this farm years ago with her husband. And just everything's done by nature here. And she is taking us through her whole garden, and
I can't stop
it's
looking.
amazing.
It's
It's
just
amazing. It's amazing.
And taking stride, Miss Cathy and Miss Donna, that, you know, things like I said, it's cooler up on the mountain, so things are already trying to die back, go dormant and things like that. But I'm not just certified as a certified green organic grower, or have a chemical engineer license, or being a grower, or knowing how to breed plants, but for about, I want to say, almost 30 years of my life, I was a florist designer. Okay?
Wow, yeah.
And then that's when I introduced floriculture into the world of designing with flowers for proven winners, and I mean, just so many big companies I can name off. I worked for Pam and Joe over at Craven Parties, which is now, you know, they're over in the Carolinas. I was one of their top designers. Got actually invited many a times to red carpet just to do nothing but floral designs, either with fresh cut, artificial silks, dries, etc. Okay, but then later on in life, I became an interior designer. Okay, so I'm a jack of all trades. I can do whatever in anything somebody needs.
Well, that's what we women do. We're multitaskers.
Right,
That's why somebody says to me that, you know, a lot of times we get to talking as women, you know. They say, what did you do? Well, actually, which one do you want to know? Well, I was a nurse,
yeah,
a
which
model,
one do you want to know?
Television, a mom, a grandmom now. An insurance, I've done it all, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we want that in our life. We want to be able to say, well, we can do this trait, we can do this trait, we can do this trait, you know. And also not just being a teacher, you know, but teaching not just one person, many people.
Well, we have generations of people who really don't know where food comes from.
Right.
And folks like you are needed.
Oh, it's important in today's time. We teach everybody how to grow their own.
And this is, and the thing that's really fabulous, and I hope a lot of the kids are watching this. My middle daughter, our middle daughter teaches facts. You know, they don't call it home ec anymore. They call it family and consumer science.
That's right.
And she loves it because she's teaching them the basics. Now, this is the part of the basics that actually pulls into her classroom. So, actually, that's what we're out here doing today. And Cheryl is going to show us some plants over this way now, aren't you, Miss Cheryl?
Well, I could show you our Blue Angel Hosta real quickly. You ladies can stay right there because I don't want anybody to maybe get sweet note or anything on them. But we have many varieties of hostas like I was talking about. This is, of course, it's wind damage right now, but this is Blue Angel. And I just wanted to show y'all how big one leaf is. Of course, next year it'll come back real pretty because it's, you know, been through hail, wind damage, and everything else. But I just want to show y'all, your hostas will get this big if they're planted in the right conditions, you guys. So we'll just continue and move on. And same with rhododendrons. You know, I've taught many places how to keep your rhododendrons pinched. Say, for instance, right here, this is new buds coming on for next year, you guys. So if you have rhododendrons, I've kept this one pinched for 3 years. All right, now, say you want it to branch out. You're just going to come right down through here. And there you go. You want to pull that bloom off, next year's bloom off. And when you do that, next year it's going to put a shoot out right here and it's going to be branched, just like these are. And that's what I do with all the rhododendrons. Azaleas, I generally just whack them down and just make them bushy, and they'll just get really bushy. The more you pinch them or cut them, just like any shrub, cut them down, they'll come back real thick and bushy.
All right, so we're moving right along down here. Now, what do we have over here to our left?
Again, most of these gardens about through with. Either the butterflies have eaten them or somebody's come through like
You
a
see
deer.
beautiful butterflies.
Yes, well, now, Miss Donna, it's funny you should ask that, but if y'all would have got here early this morning, we still had a bunch of blue swallowtails and yellow swallowtails that were hanging around, and they're out in the early morning when there's dew on the plants, drinking up their water, getting their whatever their food sources and vitamins that they need for that day, and then they just fly off. And a lot of times you'll see them hanging in the trees because butterflies are like bats nearly. They like to get up in the high parts of the tree
Is that
where it's nice and
cooler up there?
because it's cooler. Yes, ma'am. It's hotter down here. It's cooler up
So they're
there.
smarter than most humans are.
Well, and
including myself.
the thing is, you know, when we were children, you could see monarch butterflies everywhere. Now you don't.
No, they're endangered.
And they are so, and you all that are watching, if you don't know anything about butterflies, look up monarch, because it is the prettiest butterfly you will ever see.
It is, and they are endangered. There are several breeders. I'm members of all kinds of breeding programs and stuff, and I actually got approached to actually start doing the caterpillars and the cocoons here on the property.
That's
as
a beautiful story.
As a project for kids. We used to do that at the old farm at the Shed Floral Nursery over on the other side of the mountain, and we would have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of kids from DeKalb County in the mountain come to our butterfly releases. So once I get that side of the property done in the next couple of years, well, I say I ain't nothing about I, because I don't do any kind of work at all like that no more. My husband does, or my kids, whatever. But as the family get that side of the property done, then we are going to have butterfly releases, but all the conditions have to be right to do that, so that they'll stay.
We need to come
here
out
on
here
the
for a show with the
property.
camera.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
On that day.
Yes.
Most definitely. All right.
Okay, so I just wanted to show there was some more living moss right over here, you guys. Again, this is another wet area, and generally it's all through here is our living moss, but it's been a little dry this year. But I just wanted to show y'all how bright green and pretty that looks.
That's
Y'all
really
can
pretty.
zoom down, touch it,
Mine is
whatever.
very thin, you know, where it's tried to grow, and I think because
it's kind of bugged up. Like
Yes,
right here.
it stays real wet right
like there's
here.
like a wet area on the one side of our home, right under the tree limbs, you know, the tree area there. Yeah, and that stuff's really pretty. And down in the courtyard it grows like that too.
Well, right here where we're standing, we've already planted them. My husband planted 6 chocolate vines. But from chocolate vines, y'all. This smells like vanilla, but blue. It has a beautiful, dark burgundy chocolate bloom on it.
Wow.
So where we're standing, there'll be sand brought in next year, and we have on this side of the property a bunch of real mountain rock that we've got piled up that we're going to have a archway from the beginning and it'll go all the way right through here, and I'm fixing to show y'all what's fixing to happen.
Now, let me ask you a quick question, though. Could you make teas out of that?
Could you make what?
A tea. Or
See,
is it
some
just
things
for
you
love?
can drink and some things you
Yeah,
can't.
you know, it's really for the hummingbirds. And I mean, the smell smells like vanilla bean. And
Wow.
when the blooms are blooming, they're so pretty in the hang. It's just a beautiful thing. It's a fragrant vine to have out in the yard.
That draws
you
pretty
probably-
hummingbirds.
Yes, it
You
does.
probably shouldn't ingest it.
I wouldn't.
No.
I wouldn't. I
Now,
don't
how
know
do you
that we
what
could
to
eat
ingest
it.
and what not to?
Well, there's so many things that we can ingest and some things that we can't. And that would be a spring show for you to come out, because during the spring,
We're coming.
yeah, during the spring, the gardens, because there's a lot of wildflowers that are dormant right now.
Right.
You know, and there's just a lot of things that we've already pulled up and put in the compost piles and things like that, so that we can get ready for winter.
I want to hang
Winter's
out
coming.
when you're throwing stuff away.
Okay, you were taking us over this way
Yes.
now to show us.
Oh,
what
real
are you showing
quickly.
us over here, Cheryl?
Real quickly, see, when you keep your rhododendrons pinched, see, this is all new growth right here. Matter of
Wow.
fact, you can see where last year I went and Phil, you might have to get real close to this so you can see that. Where that bud was that I was showing everybody earlier, where I broke the bud off. See, this is where I broke the bud off last year. And it put out this year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And you can see how tight this rhododendron is. Okay, and all these are native rhododendrons. So that's what I do. I just come out here and I just pinch it, and every time that I do that, it branches off. Okay, and it keeps it nice and tight, nice and tight. Okay, so in this next area, and I'm going to stand in the shade.
Oh, those are, what are those that look like daisies right there?
Oh, now those are brown-eyed daisies.
Brown-eyed
Instead of the
daisies.
black-eyed daisies, which have already finished and already through, and everybody's like, oh, mine look dead. I'm like, don't touch them, leave them alone, they'll come back next year. But that's why I started growing the brown-eye Rebecca. Same with Goldstrom. Goldstrom and brown-eye Rebecca's, they are the longest lasting Rebecca's as far as a native goes that's still in bloom right now. But your black eye, they're done, they're finished, they're an early summer thing, and then the rest of the summer they look like they're nearly dead. You know, so, but yes, those are brown eyes.
Those are happy plants.
They're very
they're
happy.
pretty.
And you see the butterflies flying around over here every now and then. That is blue mist. And it is a ageranthemum, and you'll see it throughout the farm everywhere. That is a sure enough host plants for your butterflies, of all butterflies. But right
And
here,
it's a showstopper.
right here, you guys, starting from right here all the way down to the fence line, as we've already been clearing it out, according to our federal and state inspectors, it's going to be another greenhouse, okay?
Oh,
So this is a future project that my husband has been working on now for about 3 years. And finally, they came back out again and said, well, this is what's got to go, this has got to go, this has got to go, you know, do this. Next, he's going to start working on his plumbing part. So, you know, I look at in the next 2 years, from here all the way down to the fence line down there. And it's a pretty long area and a pretty wide area. This is going to be where the new greenhouse is going to be, okay? Where we're standing right now used to be our old compost pile. Okay,
I bet that's some rich dirt.
it's pretty rich. And this is where we've been digging for the last 2 years. And last couple of days, David's just been throwing all the tree limbs and branches right here because he says he's just going to burn again. Well, what I was talking about earlier, burning, that's great. When you do that, flip it every 6 months. Okay. Exactly.
Every 6 months?
Every 6 months for 2 years. If you keep that flipped, and you just keep the pile burn, well, not only does it create good organic humus dirt, but the nitrogen goes all the way down to the bottom. So when you flip it, it'll go back to the top, and then it'll go back through its heat process again, and that's how you get that good black dirt like that.
Oh,
Wow.
Okay, then it's ready
that's
to use in
good.
2 years.
So
Right.
you could use that and maybe fill pots.
Yeah,
Whatever
anything.
you want to do.
Anything.
Okay,
Anything.
so-
Whatever you want to do.
I want to know what this is blooming down here, Cheryl, that's red. What are these little berries looking? They look temptingly poisonous for kids, probably.
Well, these are viburnums, and they're not.
Oh,
Because
really
the birds,
good.
Okay, the birds actually eat these.
Okay.
We have probably as far as on. Y'all don't want to see that. Y'all know what that is. That's poke salad right there.
Yeah, but my chickens love it.
Oh, I know. That's why I don't want to pull it, because my chickens eat it. We have, I don't know, so many different viburnums all throughout the property and everything. But this is leather leaf viburnum, and the berries are edible for the birds. only.
Birds only, not children.
Birds only.
Birds.
All right. But when it puts out its blooms and everything, they're about the size. They're a little bit smaller than my hand. They're about the center of my hand. The blooms are themselves. And then as we walk down to the bog area, that part of the wetland system area, I'll show you a viburnum I developed that nobody has.
Okay, let's go. No, this is a beautiful. What is this? A tree?
No, this is
or
a
a plant?
viburnum. I think I talked to y'all about this last time y'all were here, but I'll go ahead and talk about it again. This is a This is a
beautiful.
evergreen
Looks like
viburnum that I had to get permission from the state of Alabama to collect from the canyon, down in the canyon here on this mountain, which the property, the family property, joins the canyon on the backside back there. So I hiked down with permission from the state of Alabama, and I had one cutting. It was about that big when I collected it, okay? And then off of that one cutting, I got several, okay, and got them to grow. Now last year we did what was called air rooting cuttings. We rooted it in the air, and we came up with.
Let's follow Miss Cheryl. She's going to show us what they did with the air rooting cutting.
Now, is that when you use foil and...
I used the plastic and the foil.
All right.
Yes.
Yeah, I want you to mention that and show everybody how you do that.
Okay, so we've had, like I said, wind damage and all kinds of stuff. But these cuttings are the air rooted cuttings that I took last summer, my husband and I. And all of them took, but then we had all those winds and all that, and I lost 1, 2, looks like 3. But I don't know if I've lost them or not, because they're kind of rooted to the ground. So my husband said, just leave them alone, they'll come back. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll see if they're going to come back out.
And there's another beautiful bed right behind you, Cheryl. Tell us about that bed right there.
Okay, so I'm going to get up here in the shade, because I'm not supposed to use the sun. And then we can talk from over here. Okay, so now we're standing in one of our ecological wetland systems. This garden was created just for wet plants and wet plants only. And we've got sweet bay magnolia over here living in wet conditions. We've got different kind of chokeberries. I got a tall chokeberry and a short chokeberry. And then we have helianthus over here. We have, during the season, there's beautiful purple Louisiana irises through here. And then we have elephant ears as well on the other side through here. And this stays wet. As you can see,
There, it flows down.
Phil, if you turn around, you can see where the water, which is our wet stream that we tell everybody, comes all the way down the hill. And I mean, it stays sopping wet through here.
Even during drought situations.
Even during drought situations, it stays pretty sopping wet. Considering that it's taken months for it to dry out, and now it's the winter months, it's still damp, but it's not sopping wet like it generally is. And we have Rilla planted over here, we have loosestrife planted over here, and then right here is where we're going to have pitcher plants, which I'll show you when we get to the greenhouse, okay? Because I've got pitcher plants grown physically for this area all the way up the driveway.
Is that daylilies behind you, or what are those tall greens?
This beautiful green foliage that you see that looks like grass.
Beautiful.
Is actually an iris. This is a yellow bearded iris, the only yellow bearded iris. That means a big bloom, okay? That I got from a very good dear friend of mine. Thank you, Miss Linda. I love you. In case you're watching, she gave me these a long time ago, and we planted them in the wetland area, okay? And they bloom yellow every year. Every year. And it's real wet through
bet
here.
They are beautiful.
And then, of
Hey,
course,
can we talk about art? You can take anything and make it art, right?
I did, yeah.
I love it, and I love the color.
Okay, well, that's an old bed frame I had, and all I did was spray painted that color, and then I planted my, oh Lord, I'm sorry. I lost my train of thought for a minute. clematis. Some people pronounce it as clematis. I've heard all kinds of names of pronunciation of actually pronouncing this. But anyways, I took a clematis and I did plant it right there. And it actually, in the summertime, it gets a lot of sun over here. But my trees have grown a little bit. So, you know,
Think you'll have to
again,
transplant it, take it somewhere else?
well, you don't want to move a clematis once they're established.
And before we leave, I have to get Phil to look right, kind of Phil, swipe it right behind you, Phil. Those are elephant ears, are they not?
They are. Those are taros. Now, that's not my giant taro. My giant taros are on the back side of the property.
Those are really pretty. Really pretty. I had those, and I guess I didn't have a green thumb because I didn't do anything to them, and they ended up dying. So I don't know if the soil was too wet or too acidic, or maybe didn't have enough lime in it.
Well,
But
now,
sometimes that can happen, right, when you see your grass doing.
well, it could, but now, not all elephant ears are wetlands. Like those little black ones I showed you, those are dry. And I mean, they don't die.
In the wrong spot.
It could be, because we do have several wetland elephant ears and then we have dry elephant ears, okay? Or it could have been an alocasia. Now, alocasia looks like an elephant ear, but it's not.
Okay, really?
And their leaves kind of grow upright, okay? And they like as hot and as dry conditions as you can give them instead of wet conditions. They
So
like
it may
it
have
dry.
been when you have a tree that's shading, it's not getting enough sunlight. That could actually
be
cause
too.
them to die then, couldn't it?
That too. That could be one of the reasons. It may not be getting enough sunlight. And different times of the year, our gardens are shaded more times of the year.
Right.
Different times of the year, the sun is exposed more on our gardens, and that's how we want it. Okay.
Right, yeah.
Because we have different environmental issues.
All right, so we're following her on through the garden now. This is just phenomenal.
Okay, so
Look how pretty.
right here, and this is all I'm going to do because, you know, it's seed collecting time, okay? So this is my viburnum that I developed that nobody else on the market, even Proven Winners, has. And no, I just can't. You know, I'm going to sell it right here at the farm and let everybody know about it, but by the time you pay patent fees and lawyer fees and all that, it's about $25,000 patenting a plant. And then it takes you forever to get your money back. So in today's time and economy situation, not a good idea.
Yeah, so I hope the listeners, I want to make sure they heard you, Cheryl. It is seed time.
Yes.
So you see what she's doing. She is collecting her seeds, and then what will you do with those seeds,
These
Cheryl?
seeds, now that, well, these seeds are about to fall off, and I'm glad I come out here and we talked about this for a minute because I would have never got out here to get them, and then they would have been all over the ground. But it's okay. I'm collecting seeds as we walk through the property. If I see something that I didn't pull or something, I'm going to collect these, put them in a brown paper sack bag, and then I'll seed them for you guys, and they'll come up really fast. I have really extremely good luck with seeds coming up, and I'll show you why here in a minute. So I'm just going to collect these real quick.
And that's another thing because, okay, I did this and I think I made it happen by accident, Cheryl. So I had a tomato plant, and it's the orange-yellow tomato, and I love it because it's so meaty. It's great on tomato sandwiches with just slap a bunch of mayonnaise on it, you know, salt, pepper, hot sauce, all that. And so it came up. Now, so this has been coming up for 2 years now in a row.
Okay.
But now, how?
In the same spot or in a different
I've
spot?
just done different spots.
Okay.
But I put them in concrete cinder blocks this time, and I had so many of those tomatoes that, I gave you some to take.
Oh, yeah.
They are the best tomato sandwiches.
And they're odd shape,
they're
but
weird.
but they're flatter. And
I'm sure they're heirloom tomato.
Yes.
I'm sure.
That's probably what it is.
It might be a Jubilee, maybe. I don't know. I would have to see which color it is because we grow several hundred heirloom tomatoes.
It's orangey yellowy. It's almost, some of them are more yellow, some of them are orange.
Okay,
I don't know what
and I have a question for our viewers, because some of my friends, we've talked about this summer. Our tomatoes didn't do as good.
Now mine did.
Hers did great.
Mine did too.
Okay, but I did the tubs. Now I live almost 2 hours from here too,
Okay, which south?
which is Calhoun
South?
County.
Okay.
Okay.
Hot.
So it got really hot, and I
Concrete.
watered them. I had plenty of them come up,
Okay.
and so did a sweet dear friend of mine, Miss Ruby. I love you, Miss Ruby, if you're watching. But she gave me some tips. She was like, Cathy, I think it's because we get so much rain, and then we're so dry, because the tomatoes, it's like they would get beautiful, and you're thinking, oh, they're so pretty. I'm going to come out in a week, and they're going to be all red, and they're going to be big enough to slice to put on a sandwich. Instead, they either stayed small, about the
Calcium.
size of a plum.
Calcium. You put calcium in the ground.
Really? Okay. And then the other thing is they started
Sulfur.
splitting,
Okay.
and they rotted before I could pick them. I had to
Okay.
actually pick them green.
Yes. And I do a vegetable gardening class.
Really?
Okay.
Okay.
The first thing I talk about is real important that during the drier month, especially going further south, that don't ever throw your eggs away. Good source of calcium. Automatically.
Well, see, I've been
also,
putting the eggshells and stuff in
The
there.
eggshells, right?
Yes.
Okay.
exactly. Your
But now,
eggshells.
now I grain them up. I mean, kind of.
Yes, that's what you need to do.
Them out.
And you know what we do is we just put them in a Ziploc bag
Uh-huh.
Stomp
Step on them.
and you step
Do
on
a dance.
Okay, did you hear that? So my calcium problem is probably what the problem I had with my tomatoes.
Could be one of the problems.
Could be.
Could be.
So break up eggshells.
Break up eggshells, and eggshells is not just a good source of calcium and vitamin and nutrients for the actual plant to live on, but it's actual natural fertilizer too.
Wow.
Natural source
Even
of
if I did
fertilizer.
them in tubs now.
Even if you did them
So
in
like
tubs.
people that live in apartments or you don't have a big backyard, because I know a lot of areas don't. They don't have yards.
Right. And you could also be having what sounded like some root rot situation. So you want to put copper sulfate back into your dirt. Okay, because it's missing that for some reason.
What about old rusty
Okay.
nails and stuff?
That would be fine. You can take rusty. I've done
Really?
a class and
See,
just
my
put
granddad
rusty
used to
nail
do
in
that.
there.
Yeah.
And just
Exactly.
throw it in the tub.
Just throw it in there.
Wow.
And that'll always keep what you need.
I've got a
to
barn
prevent
full
that
of
from
old. See,
happening.
we bought our grandparents' old home place too, and I've got a barn full of old rusty nails, and I've just thrown them in the garden.
Anywhere you're having problem with root rot, or you feel like, oh, it's just dying. What's going on?
Right.
Because we had 2 weeks of solid rain and
That's
tremendous amounts of rain, you're gonna have that problem. You see leaves falling off and stuff
Right,
like that,
right.
and I'm like over here going, please, dear Lord, let it frost. So
Yeah.
everything could just go ahead and go to sleep.
Yeah, start going to sleep.
Right, so we don't have to have to worry about root rot situations.
Right.
So, anyways, this is my viburnum, you guys. It will be available in about probably 2 years because I am going to start selling it here. But here are some phlox. All of our native phlox is already went to seed. And again, I came out late yesterday afternoon when the sun went on the garden and started pulling phlox seeds. So we'll have some native phlox that will be available to
And I
everybody
got a question
next year.
about seeds. Do you need to let them set on paper or something and kind of dry out a little bit more?
Well, what I do is I
Before
put
you
mine in a
sort
brown paper sack bag
And then
just
how
let it
long
go.
do you leave them?
until they're dry. I have a perfect condition for where I put my seeds at in the house. In the cabin, one part of the cabin's real dry, and that's where I keep it. And it's on the back side towards David, where David built his mama a room on. That part of the cabin stays real dry. I mean, it's just dry air. And I could hang hydrangeas up and they dry that pretty.
Wow.
Just like they are right there behind him.
Yeah.
On that bush. Oh, by the way, you guys, see how big that bloom is right there? That's called a phantom hydrangea.
So he's
Wait a minute.
A phantom,
a phantom.
P-H-A-N, phantom hydrangea, T-O-M. That is the parent plant to all the new hydrangeas that are out. I think I probably got the only one left in coexistence in the whole world. That was originally crossbred with all the other hydrangeas, and that's how there's so many different new hydrangeas.
I got something I got to say.
But y'all see that one bloom? Look how big that bloom is. So for those of y'all that purchased the Phantom hydrangeas from the farm this year, that's how big your blooms are going to get.
Okay, guys,
Oh,
less than a
wow.
minute. We're gonna go. Cheryl, I
Oh,
hate to call
thank
it a
you
day.
so much.
Thank
This
you
has
for
been
letting us. It's only been an hour.
This
Oh,
is
but we get to-
beautiful.
Yeah,
so
but
we'll
we're gonna
be right
coming back
back.
another day.
Yeah.
So we're going to be coming back another day, and Cheryl's going to be with us again.